James.
Hi, hello, welcome back. We are doing some festive cryptids today.
Almost mine early, yeah. No, they're both almost a little more folklore-y, but um, kind of cryptids as well. So mine is Mari Lwyd. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. Welsh is weird. So I'm gonna go first.
What?
Did you see the spelling? So it's spelled Mari space
Mm-hmm.
Lwyd.
Yeah, it's like
Looks
Mari
like,
Lwyd kind of.
yeah.
What?
Nope. You pronounce it Mari Lwyd. Um,
Okay.
Welsh is an interesting language, and I'm fascinated by their use of. They have many words that don't have any vowels.
Mm-hmm.
Like that happens a lot, and it's so strange to me. But um, there are a couple of translations of Mari Lwyd in different mythologies, I guess. So in Welsh, it means gray mare. Um,
Oh yeah, because it's a horse.
yeah, it's a horse. Um, which I'm going to go into what she looks like as well here in just a few minutes. But she, there in Celtic and British mythology, there are like pale horses that can cross over and back from the underworld. And that's kind of where the translation of gray mare comes from. Another translation for Mari Lwyd is Gray Mary, which some scholars have, let me put this in quotation, some scholars have tried to link her to the nativity story. Apparently, there is a story related to the nativity story in like Christian mythology, that a pregnant horse was sent out of the stables when the Virgin Mary arrived to have Jesus. She was kicked out, so one baby was more important than another, and so she spent those dark days roaming, trying to find somewhere new to have her foal. But the reason that I said scholars the way that I did is because the story of Mari Lwyd started before Christianity. So it seems like maybe one of those things that Christians tried to adopt into their own mythology, but it actually predates it. So let's talk about what she looks like, because girl, she's terrifying. So Mari Lwyd is a horse, but she is not a living horse. She is a skeleton. And typically in modern traditions, it would be like a horse's skull on the end of a pole with a white cloak coming down off of it. She's either going to have lights or like Christmas baubles for eyes, and then colorful streamers.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, colorful streamers, holly and ivy, like coming off of her as well, like instead of a mane.
It kind of reminds me of like a Day of the Dead.
It gives similar vibes. Yeah.
Like a very colorful Day of the Dead. Not colorful, sorry. Christian based, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, she's not Christian though. She's before Christian.
I'm thinking like the baubles, the
yeah.
streamers, like Christmas tree, but
yeah, all of those things predate Christianity as well.
Yeah.
That's another episode.
I remember it as soon as I said that. I was like, oh, never mind.
But so the terrifying thing about this tradition is that um not only is there a person under, like, it makes me think of like the Chinese dragons with the people inside that are like,
Yeah.
so it's a person and they're doing that, and this character, or like, not character, this creature is very mischievous. So they're
Mm-hmm.
like able to snap the jaws of the horse head, the horse skull at you. And so she goes around like snapping at people, which is just, I mean, that's just terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. It's terrifying. Yeah. Just a horse skull snapping at you with like lights coming out of its eyes. Terrifying. A lot of the times when out, there's going to be festive lights, decorations, and usually, not usually, in some regions, she's accompanied by other characters like a jester and a lady. Um, this typically happened in like the 18th century when like the mummers plays were a thing. Um, Basically the beginnings of caroling. They would go and put
Yeah.
on like a play. Mummers plays were traditionally silent, I believe. Um, but they would put on like a play for donations or food or whatever, um, which is similar to caroling. Listen, um, I forgot to write the pronunciation of that word, but the tradition is when these people are going around, it's kind of like a parade, sort of. When they get to a house, as in caroling, they're going to sing a Welsh song, or I think it's Vasale. I forgot to look up pronunciation, but um, they would either sing a song, basically, or there was a more traditional ritual called punco. This is another Welsh word. It's spelled Pwnco. Punco is how it's pronounced. Um, which is an exchange of rude rhymes with the person who lives there. Um,
I love that.
so basically, they would say like some kind of rude rhyme, and then the person says it back, and whoever fumbles first and doesn't have a response loses. So if that is the homeowner, then Marie and her party get to come into the house, um, typically for some kind of food or whatever.
Beverages.
Yeah, and then
Light refreshments.
yeah, and then the household in return gets good luck for the year. Like I said, this being is mischievous, often trying to like steal things, not steal things in like a negative way, but like steal someone's hat or like playfully do that, and chases people she likes as she goes about her day. Um, the origins of this tradition were a group of poor people trying to find food and money in the harsh winters. Um, and they did this by entertainment with a hint of menace, because they're coming around to sing you songs and play games, but they also have a dead horse's skull on a stick that they're waving at you. So, a little of both.
It happens, right?
As one does. Um, in the 19th century, Christians and Methodists, the fringes of Christianity, basically, the Methodists, the ones that were not Puritans, or what's the Protestants, um, they were criticizing the Mari Lwyd and said that, um, it is sinful. It's a sinful practice, and we should not be doing it.
Ugh, them sinners.
Yeah. So by the 1960s, this tradition had almost gone away. However, there was a club that revived the trend. There was a club that revived the tradition. I about said transition. And there was a family. I'm gonna say this horribly wrong. There's a town called Yangwined. And that family in the 1960s brought the tradition back, and their family continues the tradition every year.
Oh, okay.
Other popular celebrations, like she's come back now. She's more of a thing again now. There's a New Year celebration in Chepstow. There's a chapel. There's multiple towns in Wales that do it, and then the London Welsh Centre also has a Mari Lwyd festival, and they're kind of starting to pop back up at all, like, festival life is kind of reviving, so there are a lot of like Christmas markets or things like that, and the Mari Lwyd is coming back at those as well. There's the pronunciation of this word. I knew I wrote it down. Okay. The word earlier when I was like vasalling or whatever, no, I wrote down the pronunciation. I just write it down here because it is a large part of the Mari Lwyd tradition. The pronunciation is wasalong. Wasalong. And the purpose of this is to encourage spirits into ensuring a good harvest the following season. It typically takes place on the 12th night after Christmas and involves a visit to a nearby orchard for singing, dancing, drinking, and general merrymaking. Another form of wasalong involves groups going from house to house to drink toasts and wish good health for the year ahead. In fact, the word wassail is possibly derived, it says believed to be derived from Old English washal, which means good health, basically. Modern wasalong is still a 12th night tradition. It's practiced throughout Britain in areas where fruit orchards, particularly apple and pear orchards, are. And a wassail is going to be basically a parade, a very loud, rowdy parade through the orchards to like celebrate and appease the spirits, basically.
All right, guys, we have to party because the spirits want us to.
Yeah.
That's such a that is such a Europe thing.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly.
it's a United Kingdom.
Honestly.
I feel like everything's celebrated.
But yeah, so a lot of the times the Mari Lwyd will make an appearance at Wasalung. So that's why I brought that up as well. But that's what I've got on her.
Cool.
She's a lot of fun. Kind of a creepy bitch. Right up my alley. I like it.
Kind of a creepy bitch. I like it.
I do. It's my vibe.
Okay. Well, Sorry, I took a bite of food while you were doing that, and I wasn't done yet.
My bad.
You're good. That's what I get for eating while I'm doing this, but, sleep was more important.
Mood.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about another. I would say it's more folklore based than cryptid. So agreed on that. But anyways, I'm going to be talking about La Befana in honor of our previous Christmas witch. And so she's got a very similar story to others. But in the Eastern Europe area, they call her Babushka, which is funny because Babushka is Russian for grandma.
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't that mean grandma?
Yeah. But
Speaking
have
of
you ever
Russian,
heard? Do what?
I said, speaking of Russian,
It's
here's
a
this.
baby.
Hey, Bodhi Odie.
He's like, ugh, Mom, I just want a chew toy.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna take a little side quest here because we already have. So Ben's birthday is tomorrow, and so we buy lots of things for him this time of year. He gets Christmas presents. He gets birthday presents. So we bought.
Wait, I just say speaking of Russian and grab your dog with a Norwegian name.
Because he's Siberian Husky.
That's Siberia, bitch.
Close enough. Okay.
All right. Continue your story. Sorry.
Yeah, so we have an entire, like the paper bags at PetSmart. You work there, you know what I'm talking about, like the paper, like marsh sacks type bag. We have a bag on the counter that we've just been adding stuff to for like a month and a half. And we went to get Santa pictures taken yesterday with Odin, and all of the Christmas not just Christmas, but a lot of the toys were like buy 3 get 2 free.
Oh,
all of
always.
the Christmas toys were on clearance already. So we got like 7 more toys while we were there. So now this
girl,
bag
let me tell you, those toys are on clearance like November.
Right, they're on clearance already. So I got Chaos advent calendar for like $6 a week ago because it was on clearance for like 50% off. And then we just bought even more Christmas presents for the dog. And I'm like, bro, the dog, that paper grocery sack is overflowing now with stuff for the dog. And now we have to decide what he's going to get for his birthday and what he's going to get for Christmas. But he's not spoiled. Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I sent my friend who was working at PetSmart yesterday in like the for the what is it called? The Santa photos. And I was like, oh, my friend just took her dog to the Santa photos at PetSmart in her area. Here's the photos, and I sent it to her, and she goes, oh, that setup's pretty cute. Ours looked ugly as shit, but here we are. And I was like, yay, Santa.
That's hilarious. Santa was definitely a girl at ours.
Santa was a girl at the store, I guess, too.
Santa wouldn't talk, and it took me a second, and then I realized Santa was a girl, which is fine. I don't care. I just wanted a cute picture with my dog.
It's fine. We had a Hispanic Asian Santa a couple years ago.
Nice.
So that's fine. And this year they have a short Santa, like a 4'11" Santa.
I love that.
Okay, anyways, have you ever heard of an enchanting witch who delivers gifts on Epiphany Eve instead of Christmas Eve?
I have.
Oh, you have? Let me hear it.
Her name's Befana.
Oh, yay! Listen, we're annoying. Let me tell you, it's not even early anymore. It's not early anymore, but I'm so tired. Anyways, so in Eastern Christian traditions, Epiphany is a holiday that is celebrated on January 5th. It's also known as Theophany, probably. I don't know. Basically, it's a Christian feast feast day commemorating the visit of the Magi. It's like the 12th night of Christmas, basically. It's like the Feast of the Wise Men, is what it is. So, anyways, let's start with the origins and the legends of La Befana. So, according to legend, La Befana was an old woman who lived in a small village in Italy. One night, she was visited by the 3 wise men on their way to find the baby Jesus. Because we don't know where they came from. Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Magi Joe. The wise men asked La Befana for directions and invited her to join them on their journey. Busy with her housework, she declined their invitation because, you know, she's an old woman. She doesn't want to go see a fucking baby. She got shit to do. But later regretted her decision because she's got FOMO. So realizing her mistake, she sets off with a basket of gifts for the baby Jesus. But she never found him. Wow. Now she continues her quest every Epiphany Eve, delivering gifts to children in hopes of finding the Christ child. Much like the Christmas witch. Which, now that we read the Christmas witch and kind of like got that whole idea, like not idea, but kind of have that thought on who everyone was, and La Befana was the Christmas witch. Not La Befana. Befana was the Christmas witch in that story. I appreciate it more because of this story. So that's not like the main story in the legend. There are other stories or other versions. In another one, La Befana is actually a mother who lost her child. She is overcome with grief. She begins searching for him, and in the process had actually encountered the baby Jesus. She was so moved by his divinity that she gave him her gifts. Jesus, in turn, blessed her, making her the giver of gifts to all children. So Santa. But La Befana is not the only one in that area with a similar story. So La Befana, or Babushka, in another location, is the Eastern European version. So similar to her, Babushka is an elderly woman who delivers gifts to children during the 12 days of Christmas. This story specifically often often highlights the themes of regret and redemption. So Babushka's tale is similar, it's very similar to La Befana. So like they're basically one and the same. It's just like it's like different it's like different religions have like similar stories, but like different ways of how the stories evolved, but it's like all revolves around the same fucking person. That's basically what this is. So in Italy, Epiphany Eve on January 5th is a time of celebration. Families prepare for traditional foods like, panettone. Oh, I did it. Panettone, a sweet bread loaf originally from Milan, and Tironi. God, that was such an American way of saying Tironi. Tironi. Tirone, or Tironi, however you pronounce it, is a type of nougat made from honey, sugar, egg whites, and roasted nuts. Ooh. La Befana is depicted as a kind witch wearing a black shawl and carrying a bag of gifts. She symbolizes generosity and a joy of giving, emphasizing the spirit of the holiday season. The figure of La Befana is deeply rooted in Italian culture and is seen as a beloved holiday tradition. In many Italian families, children look forward to La Befana's visit on the night of January 5th. They hang stockings by the fireplace or their beds, hoping to find them filled with sweets, fruits, and small toys in the morning. Those who have been naughty might find coal or dark candy in their stockings. This is how those little children get you. They're like, I don't like licorice. Or no, I like licorice, black licorice. I'm going to be a bad kid this year so I can get that dark candy. That's how they do it. Here's something else too. This kind of reminds me of when I was in Catholic school. I don't remember specifically when it was, but we would always, I think it was like December 5th, to be honest, because it was like Krampus time, I believe. We would take your shoes off and put them in the hallway, and we would go back in and do our class. And then, like, by the end of the class, like 45 minutes or whatever, we would come out and like there'd be candy in our shoes. Because good old Saint Nick came and visited, not Santa, just Saint Nick came and visited us and gave us candy. So it's it's like very similar to that. But some of them depict her as like an old witch, not like a bad witch by any means, but like a very old woman with like a long nose, kind of like it would be like the stereotypical witch look.
She reminds me, whenever I think of Befana or see pictures of Befana, I think of Strigonona.
Yes. Oh my god.
Which makes sense. They're both like Italian folklore.
Anytime I think of Strigonona, I just think of a kid from the high school that I used to work at. He would always come up to me and be like, Strigonona promised this and da 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 da. And I was just like, yeah, we're in math class, bro. Like, why are we talking about Strigonona right now?
What's happening?
He was a really, really sweet kid, but he also had like perfectionism problems. And his I don't remember what culture he's from, but I think he is like Asian, maybe, if I remember correctly. So like if he didn't know how to spell a word and it could literally just be like a letter off and it's a very hard fucking word, like he would freak out and have like a meltdown. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and this is what autism does to kids. And this is what the idea of having good grades does to kids with autism.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But anyways, so in Eastern Europe, Babushka, her tale similarly revolves around the themes of, the generosity and redemption. In some tales, Babushka's generosity was rewarded by the Magi and transformed her into the gift bringer for children, just like La Befana. But the celebration of Babushka highlights the importance of kindness and the joy of giving, making it a cherished tradition in many households. So like the idea of Santa Claus, like gift giving, it's not like saying, it's not making it all like Santa Claus based. It's very like they're like making their own culture into a Santa Claus. And I really appreciate that, because like when you're in America, everybody's all about Santa. Everybody's all about like season's greetings with Santa and the reindeer and all of that. And it's like, but where's the idea of that coming from? Like, we got Saint Nick. Okay, that's great. But like, where does Santa Claus officially come from? And like, this kind of gives like the idea. And I really appreciate that, because it comes from religious things, yes, but it's, I don't know. There's more concrete. bullshit behind it, then it's a magic guy on a sleigh. All right, are you on fucking shrooms? Because damn. Um, but anyways, so modern day celebrations of La Befana include festivals and parades in cities like Rome and Urbania. These events will often fill up the streets with parades, music, markets, creating a very festive atmosphere. So it's a huge party. In Urbania, the town is transformed into a Befana village with themed decorations, street performances, and workshops for children to make their own Befana dolls. The highlight of the festival is a grand parade featuring a giant Befana puppet and a fireworks display. Many Italian families have their own stories and traditions involving La Befana, from placing stockings by the chimney to receiving small gifts and sweets. And these practices have actually kept the legends alive. Some families leave out a glass of wine and a plate of food for La Befana, similar to the tradition of leaving cooks and cookies and milk for Santa Claus. Don't forget the damn reindeer. Damn, they're hungry too. They're doing all the work.
We used to go
And then,
outside and sprinkle oats on the snow for the
oh, that's
reindeer. That's
cute.
what my mom used to do with me. We would go outside. They just like unlocked a core memory because I totally forgot that was a thing we did. But we would take like just like the big can of Quaker oatmeal. We would take like a handful of that and go sprinkle it on the snow or just the grass if there was no snow.
Oh, that's cute. Let's see. Oh, and then in Eastern Europe, Babushka is celebrated during the 12 days of Christmas. So not, on the 5th, but during the 12 days, with families sharing stories of her kindness and generosity. And the children will eagerly await her visit, and some communities will hold special events and activities to honor her. I like the idea of having, I really enjoy the idea of instead of saying like, oh, Santa brought this or Santa brought that. I really like having the idea of having that generosity story happen. So like Will and I have always talked about Will is a very firm believer of like not lying. And he doesn't want to lie to if when we have kids, he doesn't want to lie to them. It's like the tooth fairy. He doesn't want to say that. He doesn't want to say Santa Claus. Like, he doesn't want to use those kinds of terms because he feels like, how are we going to tell them in the future? And I think this is, again, autism. I think this is a very autistic thing. He's not diagnosed, and I probably should stop calling him autistic, but just from working with kids with autism, the moment you lie to them, and they know that you lied to them, whether it's innocent or not, like whether, like, for instance, Santa Claus, if they find out Santa Claus is not real and they find out that you lied to them, like, they take that to heart.
Yep, and they never trust you again.
Yeah, and it's not something along the lines of like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lie to you. Like, it could be a super innocent, like, hey, we can't do this anymore. Like, it changes what they're used to, and changes is like rough for kids with autism. So he basically made a comment like, I don't ever want to do that because I don't want them to like not trust me anymore. And I feel like it's because like he kind of went through that moment with his family. He just felt like he was lied to, all of that kind of trust. But he doesn't want to do that. And I was like, but what's a good way of having the idea of Santa without Santa? And I really like how they include traditions and all of that of gift giving and like the idea of Santa. Like, some people believe that Santa is real. Other people just have the idea of Santa and they just offer gift giving and they do this and they do that.
Yeah, like the spirit of Santa.
Yeah. And I was telling my friend Fee, because like she does Christmas. She's more pagan, but she does Christmas stuff. So like she does Odin as like Santa Claus basically. But she was like in the similar thing, like they didn't want to tell them about Santa, and I was like, you can tell them the idea of Santa. You're not lying to them about a person being real. You're telling the spirit of gift giving and um
Generosity and
yeah, and kindness, and showing those that you care about them by giving them gifts, whether that's personalized or whether they're something that they know that they've been wanting, um or they need or something like that. And I was like, that's that's the idea that I think we're gonna do. We're not gonna tell them blah 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 blah, but we're also not gonna tell them like, don't tell people at school like Santa's not real, because that would ruin the magic for them. And it's not your
right.
place to do that. Um and it's I don't know. I like that, because over here in America, everything is just so consumer based. It's so capitalism. It's
Commercialized, yes.
yeah, it's buy this, buy this, buy this. Like, don't forget to push this agenda kind of thing. And I'm not saying like that's bad. I'm not saying any of that. Like, I'm not trying to get political with it, but it's it's losing the magic and the idea behind it. You're like crossing your fingers, like
Yeah,
I'm
because I
gonna
have
lie
something
about
I want
this.
to. No, I have something I want to remember to say.
Oh, so you can remember, yeah. But it's like you're losing the idea of the season. And I think that's why I just don't like the season as much. And I think once my mom passed, like the idea of Christmas, the idea of gift giving just kind of died with her. Um, because it just lost the magic behind it. And I like that other countries will take these traditions and these like stories and these legends of these like Christmas people, and continue to pass it on, like in Eastern Europe and in Italy and in the United Kingdom area with Marie
Mari
Lwyd,
Lwyd.
like all of these things. And I just that's what brings the magic back for me, just like learning things and just I don't know.
I got it. I
But
get you.
it's I don't know. Christmas time in America is so frustrating. Um because to me there's just like no magic anymore. There's absolutely no magic anywhere anymore. There's nothing fun. Like there's fun things to do, but it's all about like buy this gift or go, like there's not something to do to like learn about the spirit of Christmas. It's always go see this living nativity, or
Ugh.
hey, go take a picture with Santa Claus, and it's like cool, but like these festivals are all about history and the stories and the spirit of Christmas, and I really like that. If you
So
have a specific experience with any of these people in your personal life or like whatever, like I want to know about it, cuz I love that shit.
yes. Also, I think some of the thing that's happened here that makes it not as fun or not as about the reason for the season is
Mhm.
so much of it is now like reward based, which as behavior people we know that like physical rewards and are not as they don't work.
Yeah.
They teach you the same vibe as Christianity. If you're not good, you're going to go to hell. If you're not good, you're not going to get toys. No, that is not, that's an external reason to be good.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
need to teach intrinsic reasons to be good. So, um, like, look at the smile on their face when they got that gift from you. Look how much, or look what you did for them. Look how happy they are. And then because you did that for them, that's going to come back to you. Now, here is this. So, I have a really big pet peeve about Elf on the Shelf. I think it is adorable and it's super fun. But when it is the elf is watching, you better be good. He's going to tell Santa that
That's
takes it
punishment
away.
based.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's punitive, it's punishment based and rewards based. And then are you going to um still give them whatever you bought for the elf to bring?
Yeah.
Because yes, you are. I will say I have a teacher that is doing it this year in one of my classrooms. Um, and their elf doesn't bring gifts. Their elf just does funny things. But when they are not following the rules or when they're not being kind, when they're not doing things, the next day the elf doesn't come. He just sends like a letter and says, "This is why I didn't come." That's a little better. Um, because it's more of a, hey, you weren't being kind. You weren't doing what you were supposed to do. So I'm choosing not to spend time with you today.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a little better. But just the idea of Christmas, and it starts in like November.
Yeah.
Oh, Santa's
Bitch,
watching.
it was started in October.
Honestly. And like random fucking strangers have the audacity to come up to kids and be like, Santa's watching. You better stop and listen to your mom. Bitch, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that you're probably coming from a place of trying to help. But first of all, my kids were taught not to talk to strangers, and you were encouraging them to break that rule, so back
Mm-hmm.
off. Second of all, no. Like, how do you, first of all, how do you even know that we celebrate Santa? That we
Yeah, we could
do
be
Santa?
Jewish.
Right. Or Jehovah's Witness, or Mormon, or pagan, or like any number of things. And it's just
Honestly,
very,
there's a lot of people who celebrate Kwanzaa around us.
yeah,
And some of
it's
them are
just
white.
irritating. Well, yeah, because Kwanzaa's like an African thing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there are white people in Africa.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, Christmas. And they're like, no, Kwanzaa. But you're white. And I was like, okay, Karen.
You can't just ask people why they're white, Karen. Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
You're from Africa. Why are you white? Oh my God. But like, yeah, it's very frustrating. To just, I don't know, do with that. So like last year when I worked at PetSmart, we did Elf on the Shelf, and my boss was like, "Oh yeah, we bought um Elf on the Shelf for like these things, and it'll be great and fun." And then we could say that corporate's watching and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, I don't want to tell my
That's
people that
really
like
gross.
Big Brother's watching. And I was like, I just want them to have fun. Like I want to have fun putting them in like random situations. I want customers coming in and enjoying finding
Yeah.
the elves regardless of what they're doing. Like I want kids to come in and like, oh, where's the elves today? Or like if they see the elves on one, like cuz we have repeat customers all the time. And I was like, I want the customers who bring their kids in all the time to see like elves one day and then the elves in a different day.
Yeah.
Like I think it would be so fun. And it was like a lot of workers really enjoyed coming in and kind of and seeing like where the elves were that day. Like were they peeking through? Were they saying hi to animals? Like we didn't have hermit crabs for the longest time. So we cleaned out the hermit crab like thing. We put in fresh sand, some dirt, and we pretended like they were lounging on the beach.
I love that.
And my friend made like those like old school like tanning of the face things that they always did, and they would always
Uh-huh.
like sit like this holding
Yeah.
something.
Like the little
We made
foil
those.
things or like
Yeah.
metal things. Yeah.
Yeah, we made those.
I
So
love
like
that.
and I put in some of the like beachy um aquarium themed decor, and I just like sat it all around like shark crossing, um been there done that kind of whatever beach theme crap that I could find, like a tiki hut. um and our female and our male was just sitting there basking in the sunlight with their like little glasses on their face, and they were like that for a couple of days. And then I um put like a whitish marker around their eyes to make them look like they
Oh
got
my
tan.
gosh.
And then I put like aloe vera, like I put them by like the aloe area for dogs, like the sun stuff for the dogs. And I like made like their own like little thing, like holding on to it, like they're rubbing their face with it because they got burnt.
Hilarious.
Um, and it was just like cute fun, and that's like I don't want to ever do Elf on the Shelf because that's just a lot of work. But
Yeah.
um, I think it's just so cute to like if you don't want to do it like if you want to do it but you don't want to do it in a way that is like punitive for your kids, honestly I would do like Santa's busy seeing what the kids want for Christmas, or Santa's busy preparing for his flight or whatever. Like if you want to do the Santa Claus based thing, do something along the lines of like the elves just wanted to come in and check out, or like this is their vacation or whatever and they're coming in to spend time with you before like the big day before they have to go back to work, or like some thing, and just say, and they want to play a game, they want to do this or they want to do that, they want to
Yeah.
see what kind of mischief they can get up to for fun. Like it's great time, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. It's supposed to be about making memories, not
Yeah,
being punitive.
yeah, because well, and that's what that's, and we were talking about that last year. I was like, Will's like, do you want to like keep all of your because I sliced up some grapefruit and oranges last year and we like baked them on low heat for a few hours, and like we sat at our table and like put through everything, and he goes, do you want to keep at least one, maybe two for like next year, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I think that'd be kind of cool, like so then I could put like the date on them, like
Yeah.
2023 whatever, in 2024. And he goes, well, why don't you just keep all of them? That way you don't have to do it next year. And I was like, we decided to get this tree this year so that we could like do fun stuff. And I think it would be a fun little tradition if we like get like a bag of oranges and like
Well, that and
we
like you
like
can every year you need to
sprinkle it.
renew the intentions and the. I know
Yeah.
he doesn't subscribe to
Yeah.
that, but
He did. Yeah. I looked at him, I was like, because I made him coffee one day and it was the first, and I was like, there's cinnamon in there and I put a little bit of this in there too, and I already stirred it counterclockwise for you, blah blah blah. And he was like, uh thanks, is it
wow.
warm? And I was like, yeah, it's warm because it's cold out. I made sure yours is warm. And he goes, okay, thanks. What? And I was like, I sent you good intentions. Okay, thank you. I just want my coffee. I'm really tired. I'm like, okay, that's great. And then I said something or the other day, and he just looked at me like, huh? And we're doing a Harry Potter marathon, and we got to the movies where Twillany is in it, and she's like doing her own like little inner head kind of like thing about like the great beyond and like all of these, you know, spiritual whatever. And I look at Will and I was like, I was like, you see like all these like faces? He goes, yeah, like the confused faces and like, man, she's crazy. And I was like, yeah, those. Is that how you feel when I talk about like my things? And he's like, sometimes. He's like, you're just a little crazy. That's fine.
He
I
likes you
was like,
that
that's
way.
yeah. I was like, yeah, that's what drew you in. It's that witchcraft.
I put a
But
spell on you. And
um,
now you're mine.
haha. But it's just so funny. But like, that's like making memories. Like you have a tradition of reading Harry Potter from one holiday to the next holiday, and
Which I am not going to
it's
finish by Christmas this year.
but it's all about like, you know, the traditions and the idea of all of this, and that's what these legends are all about. Like, yeah, they're rooted in ancient times, but every year kids look forward to them. Like, they bring the warmth and the magic to modern day celebration. Sorry, modern day celebrations. And that's what the season's about. It's about traditions. It's about, doing all of that with your family. It's starting new things and continuing them to, keep that magic alive. So
I agree.
no matter how you celebrate, that's what you got to think.
Yep.
So anyways, thank you for joining us through this wonderful cryptid/folklore episode. Anyways, hope you enjoyed learning about all of these traditions and hopes and all of that. But you know what? Until next time.
Bye.